Hey everyone, I wanted to say something because I've looked at a video where there's a VTuber, and I'm pretty sure there's both sides. You have male VTubers and female VTubers that usually have like a partnership with someone who's offering a design for the VTuber's avatar in general for like outfits. And then here's the thing, they these VTuber art designers, they pull a fast one. Okay, they have the rights to the design, meaning they're only going to give part of that rights. You don't usually give the full rights, and then you're saying that, oh, I never had no part of it. That's hers now. It's hers or his completely. No, 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 no. You designed the outfit design for the VTuber's avatar, and now you're saying that you no longer have the rights because you sold the design. No, no, no. When you're selling the design, you're not really selling the rights that you're giving the design for. No, you're just selling the design itself. Meaning you who made the design still have the ownership to the rights of that design for that VTuber's avatar. Meaning you're just trying to make yourself look good, but you're really bad. Trying to sell a design and now make it look like, oh, because I sold the rights to that, because I sold the design, now I sold the rights together. But then afterwards, you'll say, okay, yeah, I still have the rights to the design. Huh? I'm just gonna say one word and be funny in Japanese. Nani? Nani in desu ka? Yeah, I know that's funny, right? And yeah, I don't know a lot of Japanese words. I just know the simple ones. I mean, I do love anime though, but like, you're scamming VTubers, but in the worst way possible. Trying to make it look like they are the ones who fully owns the ownership if the design is a Muslim design. And then when someone is blaming someone because the other person is putting Muslim designs for their outfit design of the avatar. And now you're blaming it on the VTuber that bought the design from you. See, when people start hating on a person for making something that, let's say that other side's culture is that outfit, but the thing is, that side, let me just say, they don't like how Americans are imitating their style. Okay, that's the way it is. And there's like these YouTubers. They don't like how other people are putting a design that is not their culture. I mean, that is their culture. They don't like other people trying to imitate their culture to a point where you made a design based off of their culture and they're taking it out on this side, the VTuber. When the VTuber had no part on that design, you owned it. Not the VTuber, you owned the design. You sold part of the design. You didn't sell the rights, you sold the design for that VTuber to use that design for his or her avatar. And then you're saying when they're blaming you, you now say, "Oh, I never created that. I don't know what you're talking about." Well, they don't like how you're making their design of their culture because some people from different countries don't like it when someone who has made the art style and try to sell to another person who's a VTuber or whatever. You owned it. They're now putting it on you because you're the one who owns it. Now you decide to say, "Oh, I don't own it. I gave everything to her because I gave the design to her for her VTuber." No, that's not what you said the first time. You told her that, "Hey, you want to take the design? I made it. You can use it." But you never said you can have the ownership to the design. No, 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 no. She don't have the right to design. He don't have the right to design. You do. So when people take it out on you, that's your problem. Even if you're someone that is just a designer from here or Japan or other countries not Muslim, you are pissing them off. Because some of these Muslims don't want other people to use their culture and then make it look like, oh, I don't have the ownership. That's gonna make them go harder on you. Especially if you're a Japanese designer for avatars for VTubing. That's a bad idea. Because any person who is a designer, even if it was an American VTubing designer or Japanese VTubing designer, there are going to be places where you can make a design that actually makes other people pissed off because they just want you to respect their, you know, the designs of their cultured outfits, right? I don't know how to explain it. It's all I'm trying to say is you're disrespecting their culture by putting something they never wanted you to put. Because some people from other cultures, some part of them are okay with it, the other side are not. Now, the one side that is not okay with it, those are the people you're gonna piss off, and then say, "Oh, I don't have the ownership to the design." When you still do, the only thing you did was gave the design and sold it to the other VTuber to use it. You gave it like, "Hey, I'm selling this design. Would you like to use it?" Hmm? Like an actual product. It's like when you sell, how can I put an example? A microphone for gaming. Okay, this is the example. You own the rights to the product like a microphone, right? You're selling the microphone to make a little money. You're not selling the ownership to a customer. You're selling the product. And that is the final finished product. Now, with a VTuber, it could go a similar way, but with designs. You're trying to give the VTuber design for her avatar so she can use it. So you're selling the design, not the ownership, the design. And that's kind of like a product, but it's a digital product. So an art design for a VTuber is usually just considered a digital product. Hmm? It's an art style digital VTubing product. That's something that you're saying, oh, it's not considered a product. Oh, it's considered a digital product. A design is considered, if you're using it for a VTubing, it's still considered a product, just not physical. You're selling the design so she can use it or he can use it. It don't matter. It's still a product for their VTubing avatar. What the hell kind of VTubing designer who designs outfits for VTubers creates a design that piss off the other side? Dude, I don't know if you're a lady or if a dude, because I know that even designers for VTubing avatars, they're just usually hidden because they're probably just you know they're actual VTubers, but they usually just I don't know. I don't know what to say. There's a lot of people who don't see the truth and reason why they get complained or why they get blamed or why they get criticism or why they get hate. It's multiple reasons. Multiple reasons. It could be a political issue. It could be a cultural issue. It could be, you're making people angry because you're using a design that they're not okay with you using, and then you sell to some other person. But yeah, see, I'm not the type of person that would disrespect any other country, but I do blame the one side in that country that is trying to force the other side in that same culture, their same nationality, to like say, "Oh, we're gonna fight. I don't care." See, and this is something I'm gonna say something. If you go to Israel, if you see the situation in Israel, there's actually one side in that town that don't want to fight. The other side wants to fight. Iranians, there's one side that don't want to fight and one side that is with it. Because you always have one side in every country. It don't have to be just Israel and Iran. They're always going to have that same situation. One side is not going to want to fight, or either that other side won't want to fight at all. Like, think about it. Japan doesn't want to fight. They just want to live their everyday lives. Because, yeah, back then, World War, but we're not talking about World War. We're talking about the things now. You have a lot of countries that don't want to fight at all, and then you have some that part of that side, and that, let's say, part of the people in Israel, one side wants to fight, the other side don't, because they never got involved. They were never involved in this. That one side, they're new, right? They're the next generation to this timeline, this future. And then Iranians, there's one side, like Israel. One side is against it, the other side wants to support violence. But Iranian ain't really supporting violence for the sake of supporting violence. They just have to defend themselves. And then Israel, you have one side that never had no part in this, but the other side in Israel do. Because the other side in Israel, you have people there that actually do want to start the war for Netanyahu. There's multiple places that you have one side that don't want to get involved because they were never supposed to be involved. And then sometimes the leader in that place lets it happen. But Iran, it's a different story. They have to for the sake of defending themselves. And then you have people here in the state who just put white supremacists. Hmm? Like, you have some Christians that just mislead and say that God has said that people who are different should never be a thing. They're the devil. If that's what Christian is supposed to be like, what is Catholic supposed to be like? Because, Catholic, I am in the Catholic religion. But huh? Because Christian and Catholic has that story that is the same, it's just they explain it differently. The way they say it differently is the way they say the words that come out of their mouth about it. But they're the same. We're the same because we have that same story of that one God. Why? Why are you making it look like you're making it look like God has judged people regardless because of their look and the way they are? But he didn't do that. He never judged people because they're different, because their gender is different or their relationship is different. People fall in love in different ways. They have the right to be in love. They have the right to have their own way of loving, just like any other person and human being in this world. And I'm bringing this up after bringing the design shit situation up because it's true. People would just put religion in that different path, in a separate path, not the one it's supposed to be in. It's crazy, man. When you think God, you think only one God. We both have that same God. But then the way some of these Christians make it look like is, oh, this guy's our God. The president is our God. Trump is our God. I got one thing to say about MAGA loyal Trump supporters. Stop misleading religion, man. And Trump better stop misleading religion. Because he's using God's name, but he don't even believe in God. Because if he believed in God, I don't know. I mean, he's causing a conflict between Iranians and the U.S. Nobody asked for that. None of his voters actually asked for that. Only the people that are full on Trump loyal usually support it. But a lot of these people who were originally loyal to Trump are now saying, we never asked for this either. Because they starting to realize the thing that they wanted wasn't the thing that they actually wanted. Do you see the bigger picture? I don't know. I sure don't. Because it don't look like Trump is even following the picture I'm thinking of. Or any citizen is thinking of. He's just thinking of himself. He's only supporting himself. He's only loving himself. But guess what, guys? There's some bad news that Melania Trump made the situation for Trump. Yesterday, Melania was talking in front of news reporters. The news reporters wanted to know if they ever, they wanted to know that if Trump and Melania had anything where they asked if Melania used to know Epstein. Well, let me just tell you right now, I'm pretty sure she did. It's not in the record yet, but once they find out what it is and they show it and they expose it, because there's going to be a lot of these females, these women who got raped when they were young, who are going to testify, right? And uh, let's say if the woman who he raped testify is to expose the two people. Who are those two people? Melania and Donald J. Trump. They are going to be exposed. And that was the mistake Melania decided to say in front of news reporters. She's saying, "Oh, I'll bring them here to testify if they have been raped or not." That was a bad idea because what Melania has just done is still going to get President Trump involved because President Donald J. Trump was the one who did all those things before he even became president, before he became the age he is now, like every other person will become an old man, an old woman. And that's how life is, right? But then you have some people that'll say, "I look perfect. I am beautiful." And then the next thing you know, when they get old to that point, some of these people are just full on greedy. They'll be like, "I'm ugly, I'm hideous, I gotta get a surgery to make my face look great." Yeah, some people just use it for the sake of wanting to show off. Some people get plastic surgery to say, "Oh, I want to be beautiful again. I'm beautiful again," and use it as an excuse. Now, you have other people who don't feel like they look right. And so some of those people who feel like they don't look attractive, they'll do surgery to not abuse it, to make themselves feel a little bit better, right? People in general usually use plastic surgery to make themselves where they don't feel uncomfortable in front of other friends because they'll think they're ugly, right? So they want to change. They change because they're suffering. And it don't have to mean that a woman change into a man. No. She would try to change herself because she feels like it would help her look beautiful. A lot of people who don't really have faith in their own looks or don't feel comfortable with the way they're looking, they'll do things to help themselves feel better because the way they don't like the way they look. Some people just don't feel comfortable with their looks to a point where they just want to change. If she's a woman, she's going to try to change herself to a beautiful woman because that's the way she thinks, or that's the way the guy think will say, if I'm a man, but I want to become a beautiful man. Because they don't have faith in their looks. Some people don't trust their own looks, their own beauty. So they want to look more beautiful because they don't feel comfortable. It don't have to be a woman. It could be a guy who does plastic surgery to become a better looking guy. He don't have to change to look like a woman to feel the way he does, and she don't have to feel like the way she is as a woman to feel the way she's a woman. No, there's a lot of people in general that just don't feel comfortable with their looks, so they try to feel like they think that if I change my looks to look even beautiful as a woman, or if I feel like a man, that I don't feel right as a man as it is, so I want to become a more beautiful man, a handsome dude. So of course the dude's gonna get plastic surgery, and the female's gonna get plastic surgery, but not for the sake of abusing. They just don't feel right the way they look. They usually don't have confidence in their looks. These people just do what they do because they think that it'll make them feel better. But the thing is, some of these people will feel better because they feel beautiful inside or they feel good looking inside. Other people, other men and women, just do it for the sake of showing off, just to change their actual image of their identity. for the sake of, let's say if the guy who is abusing the way they talk and socialize to people, let's say if the person who has said something misleading, let's say if the person false reported the other person, and then the person who falsely reported the person lose, of course, right? When you false report, you're gonna lose. Let's say if you put a lawsuit, that's what I'm saying. False reporting, putting a lawsuit against the other person, and you're not doing it for the sake of you being ugly. No, you're not even doing it because you want to look beautiful. You're just doing to change your identity in general. And as a man or woman who try to abuse it to change their identity, so that way they could go back and put it against this person, and the you think in front of you, those people won't realize it's you. All you're doing is like what a person who is a spy would do. You want to be incognito, but this is not a spying operation. This is you wanting to change your identity for the sake of trying to fool the courts and judges. For what? You're not doing it for the sake of trying to satisfy your beauty. No, you're doing it for the satisfaction to blame the other person who is more better than you in person. Not by beauty, by personality and heart, and someone who cares about the United States as a person, who is a citizen, just like you. Well, I don't know what to say. Because you have some Catholic people that would usually mislead, but you have Christians that also mislead. And if you ever noticed, the Christian side has been known for having people on their side that are usually misleading in general. There are a lot more people, but now there's a lot more people on both sides, but it don't matter. One side is going to have a lot of people misleading that religion. So if you have Catholics, there's going to be a lot of Catholics that mislead the religion and try to put it the same way how you have the other side in the Christian who usually mislead it. So one side is just imitating the other. The Catholic side, a majority of them are doing that same thing the Christians you would usually do to mislead. Because you have another side in Christians who are putting the truth in religion and they are keeping their respect for religion. Now the same thing goes with Catholic. You have one side that is fully dedicated to respecting their religion. The other side don't. You have two two types of groups that are really huge on that Catholic side and Christian. They're just trying to mislead. But yeah, it's crazy. Because usually when it comes to art designs, that's gonna affect religion too. Okay. Apparently that one person who is creating avatar VTubering outfit designs is going to use religion and everything. But like, yeah. And yeah, if you haven't noticed, I haven't been working on any Let's Plays for a long while. It's just to prevent myself from getting completely pressured from doing Let's Plays. Because yeah, every person in this world has to go through pressure. Sometimes they still continue streaming and then they only stream for like 1 hour, 2 hours, and then wait until later on and make another 1 or 2 hour stream. But some people, like every other person in this world who usually has that same issue when it comes to pressure and stress, they would usually take a lot of time off. There are times where people like us won't stream every day, and sometimes never stream at all because of the pressure we have to deal with. See, people like me, yes, I'm like any other person who goes through a lot of pressure and I have disability. I have full ADHD, slight autism, multiple others like fully hypertension disorder, and slow learning. But that don't mean I can't learn. It just means it's gonna be a process, a time for me to try and continue to gather and process that information in my head. Will it come easily? No. That's ADHD is something, I mean, not ADHD, sorry. Slow learning is something that it delays your learning process. It don't prevent your learning process. It's just hard to remember certain things. There'll be some things that I learn and then I forget regardless. Or sometimes there are things that I can process and learn more easily than others. See, because of slow learning, there's stuff that usually either takes a little more longer for me to learn, or some things I won't be able to learn, and others that I will be able to learn and process more easily. And it's crazy because people think, oh, the person has slow learning, he's stupid, he won't learn anything. No! Just because a person who has slow learning has a disability, don't make them stupid. It don't make them It don't make it like they're not able to learn anything. No, it's just more harder to process, but some things you will be able to process. Sometimes they'll take time to process. Some may not process at all. The others that you stick to, that you remember, that is simple to process, those are the things you'll learn. And remember, just because you have slow learning, don't mean you have dementia like this president of the United States we have. Will it make it hard for me to say certain things even though I don't really stutter? Yes, some stuff will be hard for me. It don't have to be me stuttering because stuttering is just I believe a disorder or disability like usual. But like people who are usually born with stuttering, like Biden, he was at the point where he just stutters regardless, right? That's how he was born. I believe that's how he was born. I think that was a disability or something he was already born with. But that don't mean he don't know shit. You know, when that one time before his like I believe his first term running against Trump in that debate, Trump is just saying, "Oh, he has dementia. He always sleeps." No, Biden don't have dementia. He might have slight, but he was able to socialize better than this guy by saying, "Oh, would you just shut his mouth up, right?" Because Trump just talks shit. He talks smack, and he's putting shit against others. It don't matter if it's a politician; it could be a citizen. Trump will say things that he wants to say, not that the people want him to say. See, he's saying something that people never want him to say by saying, "Oh, we're gonna make America great again by putting nukes in Iran and telling Israel, let's win." Think about it for a second. Trump is saying something that only one side of Israel wants, and also Netanyahu wants it. The other side in that place did not ask for it because Netanyahu sent people behind his own people's backs, and those are the people on his side that never wanted this, that never asked for a war against Iran. Hmm? My God, I don't know. And yes, I'm saying my God not just as an expression on like, wow, this guy just fully messed up. No, it's because like any other place, even like states in this city, has people that'll say, "Oh my God," but an expression for excuse. The other side will do that same thing too. Some people would use the word as an expression like, "Oh my God, he killed our bad ally." What kind of person will say, "Oh my God," as an expression because someone bad who was successful? But yeah, and yeah, I ain't mentioning shit about foreign laws. That's something I'll leave aside. I don't even have to mention that, you know, because if you think about it, America was already built off of foreign laws. Just part of them were thrown to that other side because some of those laws that were in other countries didn't belong here. United States, meaning you respect your own law that is balanced. You respect peace. You respect, how you say it, respecting others who are citizens like you. Not put certain foreign laws that can make it where the United States ain't considered a United States. You put a full foreign law, that just messes up everything. The United States was actually built off of foreign laws. It's just some of those foreign laws were kept out for a reason. And here's the thing. The foreign laws that we kept are from the history of before how United States became United States, right? I'm pretty sure it had to be something from the very past history before they actually like took the oath, put the treaty, we respect it. We use our own culture, but we respect other cultures. We don't we're not making it look like we disrespect. It's just the way the United States work. It's not going to be like other countries, but we'll have some laws that are from other countries that are not the whole law, but like parts of those laws from other countries. Like one side, and they're good parts, okay? They're good parts of foreign law. We're not taking everything of foreign law that exists in other countries completely. Because if you take all the foreign laws, make them here in the United States a thing, then you're not really keeping it as the United States, you're censoring it. But you don't want to censor the law because other countries have, and some of these countries have restrictions where it's censoring certain things entirely. So what happens if you put all the foreign laws in that one part of the United States? It's not cultural because you are now preventing culture because if you haven't noticed, okay, I'm not going to say the whole story because I'm not aware of certain parts of the story even though I usually hear it. I just forget a lot of things. But there are some things that I remember and those are important things. Let's say Romans from way back then, around Jesus' timeline. Why was Jesus hanged on the cross? He didn't do it just for the sake of saving our lives by sacrificing his for the sake of keeping us continuously in this world. No. He did it because the Romans took it on him. And that was during the time where Israel was in control over Israel. It was Romans. But those are the history of the past of those Romans. This time, this future, is not just other countries, it's the United Nations. See, people are trying to bring the past where the Romans told people what to do back then. Romans don't do that. Italians don't do that now. Some of them do somewhat of that, but Israel is the one. The leader of Israel is the one. Not the Israelis, the leader of Israel. Just like when we have our president here in the United States. He's doing that exact thing. But in a way, he's putting it with a little twist. You have Hitler. Hmm? Trump is kind of like he's trying to be that next Hitler. But in also a way, he's taking another plot twist. I am the king of the United States. Hmm? Hitler is the one who put things that, and I'm saying he was probably not really trying to do so. If he went crazy, it had to be multiple things because if you think about it, in the past of the United States, all these countries were driven crazy by one leader in the United States. So other countries had to be blamed for something they didn't really do. It's the things that we caused it to happen to become a thing. The United States past the history of this United States, leaders that existed very way long ago, they had already put things that made it where other countries will see us as people that just don't respect other countries in general. They will see us as the ones who put it on them. They never put it on us. Past history leaders has put it on other countries by blaming other countries to a point where all these other countries had to go crazy to a point Some of them were still okay, but some of these leaders that exist, or some of these generals that exist in those countries, they had to go through a lot. Yeah, just like when Trump sends troops, and all these troops are young adults who have children who are family, have to experience craziness because Trump experienced craziness like the past Hitler. And Hitler never had that issue from the start, it happened afterwards. So if Hitler used to be fine at first, but then went cuckoo and crazy, there had to be a reason, right? And I'm pretty sure there had to be a reason why Hitler was in jail, right over there. But like, Hitler was in jail, but he was never a bad guy. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Because we don't know that actual past. We don't know what Hitler had to be in order to become the way he was. No. Like you have other countries with other leaders or generals that have that same issue. They go through an early start being okay, and then afterwards they had to be suffering to a point where they went crazy. And when people usually go crazy, it's multiple reasons. It's either fear or when some other country intimidates them and say, "You better be crazy." I'm pretty sure there's a lot of history where these countries were blamed for something they didn't really cause. I mean, like I know it's probably not an exception when it comes to Japan or China, but hey, we're willing to respect them because yeah, they want us to make sure that they have our respect. But like, it's not just they want to get our respect; they just don't want any part of this. They never wanted a part in the war, like the past where they used to have to go through deaths. No, they don't want to go through casualties like the past because certain countries can't really. I'm pretty sure some of these countries just don't have enough people to put an army to fight against other countries or the United States compared to like way back. Like a lot of these countries lost a lot of soldiers to a point where they're like, "Oh, we're not going to focus on war. We want peace. We want respect. But you have to show us respect too." So we showed them respect, and we just negotiate. We make things happen, right? We respect them like they're showing us respect because they deserved our respect, and we deserve theirs too. But now other countries are seeing the United States as, "Oh, these people are just mean and bad." Well, that's the truth, right? We had leaders from the past history that were bad that would take it out on other country leaders. The United States ain't a pleased and really loving history. It is a bad history that we people in the US have from the past. The leaders that just put it and blamed it on other countries in general. It's just something that needs to change. I feel like the United States has to learn how to negotiate. The president needs to learn to negotiate, okay? We need to build back the relationship that we screwed up. And yet, yeah, I know it's going to take a long, long time to build that relationship and trust. But with other countries, they still help us. They still trust us. They just don't trust the guy leading the United States. But all right, guys, I probably won't be streaming Let's Plays for a long while, but I'll be putting things on the channel when it comes to life experience, the things that I'm going through that probably a lot of people also go through somewhat similar or probably go through in general. There are different people. We go through somewhat the same and somewhat similar and somewhat different, but we still understand it because it's somewhat similar. But yeah, all right, guys.